Hello, this is Ms. DB, and in this video we're going to go over how to complete the assignment on graphing lines by plotting points. So at the beginning there's an example. We have a line that'll have an x and a y, and then you're going to pick some different values for x. I picked 2, 1, and -1, but you could pick 1, 2, 3 or 0, 1, 2. It's a good idea to pick a negative, but if you have problems simplifying with negatives, then don't put a negative in. So in the first one, when we let x be 2, I just replace the x up here with 2. So -5 times 2, that'd be -10. Here, let me write that in. So that would be -10 plus 5, because that was in the equation, is equal to -5. So our first point is going to be at 2, -5. Let me write that out. So the first point will be at 2, -5. That means that on the x-axis, I go over to 1, 2. So there's 2 right there. And then I go down to -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's where I got that point from. And I put a point right there at the intersection of x equals 2 and y equals -5. Now to get my second point, I'm letting x be 1. So my equation again was that y is equal to, and you can even write that right here, -5x plus 5. So now I'm going to let x be 1. So I go -5 times 1 plus 5, and that's equal to, well, let's see, -5 times 1 is -5 plus another 5, and -5 plus 5 is 0. So my coordinate, my next point, is going to be at x equals 1, y equals 0. So I go over on the x-axis to 1, and then y equals 0 is right on the x-axis, so I put another point right there. So far I have this point and this point. Now I have to do one more point. Now I let it be 1, but let's let it be 3. Maybe that'll be easier than having all those negatives. So I'm going to replace up here in this equation, I'm going to replace x with 3. So I go -5 times 3, and then I have to add 5 to that. So -5 times 3 is -15, and then I would add 5, and I would get -10, because -15 plus 5 is -10. So my point, the x-coordinate is 3, that comes from here, and the y-coordinate is -10. So then on my graph, I would go over to 1, 2, 3 on the x-axis and down to -10. That's going to be right down here at the bottom. Let me put a point there if I can. I'll just put a little circle right there for my point. So at 3, I'm at 10. So see that point right there? It's kind of big, but and then I would draw a line. Now the line's already there, of course, but I would draw a line through all these points as close as you can get to going through all of those points, and that's what the line would look like then. So that's how we graph these lines. All of these will come out to be a straight line. If you have a point that does not lie on the line, then there's a mistake somewhere. All right, let's look at how we would do these problems. I'm going to let x be, you know what, I'm going to let x be 0. That'll be even easier, 1 and 2. So I can let x be whatever points I want, pick 3 easy points, and then for y, I'm going to write the equation here. Y is equal to 3x plus 4. So over here, I'm going to replace the x with what I let x equal. So the first one will be 0. So that would be 3 times 0 plus 4. And now I have to simplify that. Well, 3 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 4 is 4. So my first point, let me add a row here. I'm going to add one more column so that I can put the coordinates that I'm going to graph over here. So my first point would be 0, 4. So I'm going to put a point at 0, 4. So that means, I'm just going to get one of those little circles again. So I go over 0 on the x-axis, which is right on the y-axis, and then I go up to 4 and I put a point. Now I'm making my points are little circle shapes, but let me move that just a little bit. I can't get it right on where I want it. And I can color it in if I want. So my point is supposed to be right on the y-axis, and I had trouble getting it exactly there, but that's okay. Okay, my next one, I'm going to let x be 1. So I would have 3 times 1 plus 4. Well, 3 times 1 is 3 plus 4. 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. So my next point is going to be at 1, 7. So now I have to go over 1, get another point here, over 1 and up 7 and put a point. Okay, so there's my second point. Again, it's slightly off, but that's okay. And then my next point, I have to let x equal 2. So I'd have 3 times 2 plus 4. So all I'm changing each time here is what I'm letting x be. I'm not changing anything else about the equation. I'm just changing, it was 3x plus 4, so I replaced the x with what these values are. So in this one, I had, oops, I didn't finish it yet. 3 times 2 would be 6 plus 4, that's going to equal 10. So my point is going to be at 2, because that's what I let x be, and then 10. So I have to go over here on my graph. I have to go over 2 and up 10, which is right at the top here. And you can see that these are lying in a line. These are all going to be in a straight line. So now I'm going to get my line tool. There's one there. And you can do this with in Sketchpad too. That would be good. Or you can do it, print this out and do it by hand as well. So that line is, it's not super perfect, but it shows that those 3 points are lying in a line, and it shows the direction that that line would go. And you make your line go through the points and beyond. You don't just stop it and start it right at one point to the other point. Now, if I had made a mistake and one of my points was like, whoops, and I had gotten one of my points as being like over here or something, then I would know I made a mistake, because all of these are going to lie exactly in a line. There's not going to be one somewhere else. You're not going to get a triangle shape or anything like that. So you're going to do that for each one of these. Pick some values for x. You can use 0, 1, and 2 every time if you want. And then plug them into the equation and see what you get. And every single time you're going to get a straight line. All 3 points will be in a line. And if you make a mistake, then you'll know it because they won't lie in a line. Let's do number 4 because of the negatives in the problem. I'm going to let x be 1, 2, and 3 for this one. So I'm going to just type what y is equal to here just so I don't forget. Negative 2x minus 4. The negatives sometimes can be tricky. And I'll put one more column on here just so I can write my coordinates. You don't have to do that, but it helps me keep it straight. Alright, so now I'm going to replace x with 1. So I have negative 2 times 1, and then I have to still go minus 4 after that. So that's going to be equal, negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 minus 4. Negative 2 minus 4, check it with your calculator, is negative 6. So the first point that I need to graph is going to be at 1, because that was my x-coordinate, and negative 6. So when I graph this point, I have to go over to negative 1 on the x-axis. Oh, no, sorry, it's positive 1. Over to positive 1, and then down negative 6 on the y-axis. So this is negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6 is right here. And put your point there. And that's our first point. And then for our next point, we're going to let x equal 2. So we'd have negative 2 times 2, and then we still have to go minus 4. So that's going to equal negative 4 minus 4. So that's not 0. Negative 4 minus 4 is negative 8. I wonder if my 3 is going to go off of my graph, I bet. I might have to pick another point. So this point would be 2 over 2 and down 8. So when I make my point, I have to go over 2 and all the way down to negative 8. Oh, you know what? But this point is down too low. Let's move that point up. I made it too low. And now I can't get it right on, can I? And this point was supposed to be at negative 8, which is right here. Move over just a little bit. So that's okay. Now I can already tell that my next point is going to be quite low. I think it'll be negative 10, and this graph is covering it up a little bit. Move down a little bit and it won't go down, will it? So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change, instead of using 3 here, I think I'm going to go back and put 0 here, because then it'll go higher. So I'll have negative 2 times 0 minus 4. And negative 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 4 is equal to negative 4. So this coordinate point will be 0, negative 4. So that means, let me get another point, even though they're kind of bad. I have to go over 0 on the x-axis and down to 4. And I see these points moved a little bit because I moved the graph accidentally. So I have to put this one back at, what was it? 1, negative 6. And this point was supposed to be at 2, negative 8. There we go. And I'll make this one orange like the others. Okay, so now my points are in a line, more or less. They're supposed to be. And I will draw a line through those points that shows the direction that those points are going. And you can see that it'll be a straight line. My line is a little off, so I'm going to try to swing it a little bit. This would be easier to do in Sketchpad, and there is a Sketchpad file attached that you can use to make your lines. I'm going to draw another line, or see if I can change the slope of this one a little bit. I'm about ready to crash my Word program, I think. But you get the idea. This one should be slanting a little bit steeper than this, but I'll put it back here because my program isn't letting me grab another one. And that's how you do these problems. And again, you can check by making sure that the 3 points that you graph all are in a line. They all will be. These are all linear equations, so that you should get a line for each of them. All right, let me know if you have any questions or need help with this, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.